So we're en route to Guthrie Castle to meet with Dan Peña to have a podcast with him. Now, why I'm really looking forward to this one is because it's been 10 years, it will be 10 years, January 2025, since I last did the Castle seminar. So this is going to be exciting for me to go back to Guthrie Castle. I've got so many questions for him, and I don't even know if we're going to get through them all. Do you know that way that when you're doing podcasts with people, you've got this intention to talk about this and the next thing, and you've got these golden things that you really want to ask? Whether we're going to get through them all or not is going to be a different story. So I'm really looking forward to doing it. And also, I'm going to just share what's happened in my life over those 10 years as well, because a lot has happened and a lot of what I've accomplished, I wouldn't have been able to do it if it wasn't for that time 10 years ago, going to the Castle seminar and having my mind opened up to a whole different way of being a high performance person. So I'm going to ask loads of questions, and it's so funny this morning because when I did the Castle seminar 10 years ago, and if you've seen any videos online with Peña, Peña's going to be suited and booted. He is going to be in his best attire, right? He's going to have, like, he's going to look at me going, oh, you just kind of fallen out of bed. So I've got my suit here, and in my mind, I'm going smart casual. In Peña's mind, I've woke up in my pajamas. It's one of my biggest dilemmas, because this morning I was like, should I just, dress smart casual, or should I go three-piece suit, tie on, everything? And I thought, nah, I'm just going to wear this. But I tell you what, when I did the Castle seminar 10 years ago, everyone, including myself, had to be there in a three-piece suit. You had to wear the shirt and tie, everything had to be immaculate. And I actually quite liked the experience, to be honest, to be there amongst everyone else and dressing up for it. And it's a whole process that he goes through about dressing for the occasion. It's like you're always on stage, you're always being watched. And his whole premise when it comes to M&A, mergers and acquisition, acquiring other businesses, and building your board, which is the most important part, building your board of advisors. Then if you really want to get super experienced people who have been there and done it, who have got a wealth of knowledge to be on your board, you kind of need to look the part. So that's the whole premise behind it. So I'll tell you more about my whole journey over the last 10 years, what I got out of the Castle seminar myself, and really, having Peña as my chairman for the best part of a year as well, what that was all about. And again, I think you're going to get a lot from that. So here we go, off to Guthrie Castle, and we'll see how we go on. Hello, good afternoon, how are you? I know, how are you doing? Well? It's been almost 10 years, can you believe it? Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It'll be great.
Good options here.
Okay.
Usually we have interviews done here in the library or in the drawing room.
Mm-hmm.
So we can choose a spot. So we turn on the lights also.
Okay, great. Yeah, I remember it so well. So at the very end, when you did the graduation ceremony, we all came in here. So we just all lined up, and we were all in our kilts and everything else for the very last day. We had the camera picture from up here down to everyone, so I'll definitely include that picture in so you can see what I'm talking about. And then what would happen is every night, once we're finished with the seminar, we would come back here, and if you just come through, I will show you where we would come and meet in here in the kind of library drawing room. And in here is where we would all just get together, get a few drinks, and Dan always put a movie on in order for us to watch. It was all about business, and there was a concept behind it, so we would then talk about it the next day. And then we would go through to have dinner together. And then when we're all finished, we'd come back to hang out in here. And this is where we're going to be recording the podcast for today. But there was just so much conversations after the whole day inside here. So Dan would come and join us, his wife Sally would be here, and the drinks would be flowing, right? And that's the crazy thing. And for me, this is 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago. And I've never been a big drinker. So from that point of view, I'd have one or two, and that was me. But it was just great. It was always good to just be here, have conversations, listen to Dan. He'd always tell his stories about his life and everything else, because over the 7 days of being an actual sermon itself is one thing, because you're learning so much. But I got so much from the evenings, just being around everyone else and being in here and having the drinks flowing and having those conversations and being able to ask them pretty much anything. It was such an amazing experience. And this is the crazy thing, because the first day that we all arrive, right, we all arrive and then we get checked in our rooms, and then later on in the evening, that's where we would then meet for dinner. So the best way I can explain this, if you just come through here. Now, this door here is closed at the moment. The team are all setting up, so it's all good. But if you come back out, imagine I'm literally, when Peña comes, I'm literally standing here with a drink, right? Standing here. And my back's against that, and that door's opened. And I see through the doors Dan and Sally coming down the steps. And this was my first experience of meeting Dan. Now here's a funny thing, and a lot of people say this to me, is that he is very tall. He's big. He's a big guy, like dwarfs the size of me. And I felt his presence before I even saw him, because everybody here was all talking away, having chats. And the next minute, someone from here obviously spotted that he was coming down, and then it was like silence. You could hear a pin drop effectively. And then Dan came down here with Sally, and he kind of took the floor here, so I kind of moved over to this part here. I remember it all. It's so funny to remember this back literally 10 years ago. So I remember standing here just listening away, and everyone else was just around here. And so many things happened, which is just, I can't even tell you how funny it was in an unfunny way, because looking back it was quite funny, because Dan came down here and just started, literally just started, the best way I can explain it is just breaking people down. Because that's the crazy thing, I came here with a bit of an ego, because I'd accomplished a lot in my life and had achieved a lot of success, which I believed at the time, and so did everybody else in the room. But then when you start to realise that there's different levels to this game, and that I became incredibly comfortable and complacent, and that's why I'll be forever grateful for that experience, because it got me to think so much bigger. He smashed out my ego. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing to think that I had an ego back then, because as much as I had a lot of success, Dan himself would have turned around and said, "You've amounted to nothing, you're capable of so much more." And that was the whole point of coming here at the castle. He just stands there and he does this big breath, like, I can smell the poverty in here. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, what have I done coming here? Like, what a bold statement to even say. And it was a bit awkward, so people were trying to ask questions, I was trying to ask questions, but no one really wanted to. And again, it's because of, I guess everybody was a bit in awe with Dan himself and not sure what to expect or what to even ask. And I stupidly back then turned around and asked, because I wanted to break the silence a little bit. I asked, what do you make of the whole Scottish independence? And oh my God, he went, you, and then just literally, I'm like, I'm only asking a question, try and break here. But anyway, so he was very opinionated on that one, and I'm going to ask him a few things about, because he's running for MP, and I'm going to talk about that as well, which is going to be quite interesting. But off the back of that, literally that night you could hear a pin drop during dinner. But then as the days go on, over the next number of days, things started to change, because people started to ease up a little bit, and the conversation started flowing at dinner, and things really started to change. And it was just a tremendous experience. So I'll probably go into a lot more on that. So we're just setting up just now to get things kicked off with the podcast. So let's bring it on, and I'll talk a lot more about my whole experience and what's truly happened to me in my own journey over the last 10 years. Because back then, I was in a very good place. I was comfortable, I was complacent. in my mind had made it. And my God, when I look back 10 years ago, I'm kind of embarrassed at that Paul back then. And I know that I'm capable of so much more even now. And I don't think I would be where I am right now if it wasn't for going through that experience. So I'm looking forward to this podcast and taking you guys on the journey about my whole experience over the last 10 years.